Happy Monday. Thanks for being here with me today. It's daylight savings, and I know many of you around the country switch times. So we are Arizona, we're in Gilbert. We do not switch. So if the time was off for you today, I'm so sorry. We posted something about it last week, but I know we got some emails and calls saying, is there a coaching call this morning? Yes, there is. It's just we didn't switch time zones. So I'm happy you are here. Good things happening. It is spring break for my family, for my kiddos. So this past weekend, we had a really great time. We took a little mini vacation and went up to northern Arizona, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. So hope you're all having a great Monday and off to a good start. I've got a lot to go over today and good stuff to share. So I am going to get started. Here is my screen. If you can't see it, send me a message and let me know. I got a lot of neat stuff today. We're going to go through some more Google Trends. I think that they just show such an insight into the consumer psyche. So I follow those closely for certain keywords and terms and want to share with you some things that I am uncovering. I'm going to share with you also 5 talking points that I believe every realtor should know about the real estate market. And if you are making video content, these are great talking points to turn into Instagram Reels, videos. You could do short form content with these, make long form content with these. So I will also send out this slide deck at the end of the call. When we email it out, I'm going to include my deck. So if you need any of these marketing materials or collateral, you're going to have them. We're going to take a deep dive also into our Cash Offer Plus. And this is an instant cash offer with all of the benefits of the open market. It is an amazing offering. We're seeing an increase in sellers accepting this offering. And I'm also going to bring on a Zoodealio member, Alyssa Keizer, and she is going to share about her experience. She recently went through the Zoodealio Cash Offer Plus, and she's going to share her experience and what that was like for her clients, how she found the clients, and just give you some insights that she learned through the process. So that's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that. And we have a very simple framework for success to share with you today that's going to help you kind of finish out this quarter. We're almost done with quarter 1 of 2022. I cannot believe it. And I think this simple framework is going to help you get back on track or take it to the next level wherever you're at in your business. I have a parting thought for you today. And of course, I always leave us with a question for reflection. So let's dive into the Google Trends. And here's what I'm going to share with you. This question, is the housing market going to crash? This question is not going away. You know, we saw a ton of people kind of really feeling like last year that the market was going to crash, and then coming into this year, everybody's thinking the market is going to crash. And you know, we have inflation, we have interest rates rising, we have the war in Ukraine, and all of this plays a role in our housing market, of course. And so what I believe consumers are thinking, because they're Googling it, is they're thinking, is the real estate market going to crash? And they're wondering, is now a good time to buy or sell real estate? So I want to share with you just a few things. I thought this was interesting. These are the top 5 states that are searching for, housing market crash. Utah, Idaho, Colorado, Washington, and Arizona were the top 5 regions in the US that are searching this keyword term. I'm here in Arizona. Our market has been bananas. The thought goes through our minds, are we headed for a crash, correction? What's happening? We're all wanting to know. And here's something else that I thought was interesting. If you look at the rising search terms along with this one, will the housing market crash in 2022? Is the housing market going to crash in 2022? But check this one out. Look at number 5. This one is it's very assumptive. This is the assumptive. When is the housing market going to crash? And so we know that also we talked about this a few weeks ago. 77% of home buyers and home sellers think we're in some sort of housing bubble. But also, check this out, 44% of us real estate agents also believe that we are in a bubble. And so I really think that it's time just to take a few moments and go through the data, go through what we know. We know what the market is doing right now today. And anything beyond that is just going to be our predictions based on hopefully good data, based on hopefully wisdom, based on hopefully what we have learned from the past. So I want to distill and share with you the 5 talking points I really believe we all need to know. We need to know these off the top of our head. We need to be able to pull these out when we're on a soccer game and one of our kids parents asks us, how's the real estate market? And you got to know these things. You got to know them fast. You got to be able to support them with good factual data. And also, again, I believe that these are great talking points for us to be making content around. So if you're looking for content inspiration, this is it, guys. This is the content that's going to make you relevant and a leader in your marketplace. And as you saw from Google, this is very trending right now. People are searching for housing market crash information. So first is inventory. What is happening with inventory? Well, we know it's low. And I can say that unequivocally, wherever you're at in the US, it is likely very low. If you have exceptionally high inventory in your market, it must be nice to have more than a few homes to show or a house to show that doesn't have offers on it yet, and I'm jealous. So what is happening with inventory? Well, if you look at active listings, they're actually going down in 2022. So here's the active listing count from January 2021 through February of this year. And you're going to see that in February 2021, we had 489,000 active listings on the market. And I remember last February feeling like there was no homes. It was like nothing. I remember feeling that pinch. And then we head into the February of 2022 and we're down over 100,000 listings. And so we know that we're at this very critical low point of inventory. There is not a lot of inventory on the market. Check out also the changing composition of the active listings. So here we see the amount of listings that were carried forward from the previous month. And so if you look at February of this year, you're going to see that we only had 6,000 listings that were carried over from January. So, I've used this analogy before. If you're the grocery shopper in your family and you have been to your grocery store, you know how bare some of the items on the shelves are, right? Like, try finding cream cheese right now. It's really difficult. And if you see cream cheese, you have to buy the cream cheese. And if you don't like the off-brand, it doesn't matter. If you want it, you have to buy it because that's all that's there, right? And certain other things, it's like the same concept. It's coming on the shelf, but it's coming right off the shelf because everybody wants it and they're willing to take whatever it is that's being put out there. So inventory flying off the shelf. And I thought this was also very interesting data and information. Here's the month supply of existing homes in January of each year. Now, why is this so compelling? Well, because if you look at how many months supply of inventory we had during our housing market crash, you're going to see a stark contrast to what has looked like 2019, 2020, 21, and now. So in January of 2007, you'll see that we had 6.6 months supply of inventory on the market. In 2008, we had 10 months. In 2009, 9.5. 2010, we had 7.9 months supply. I mean, those were the days where you could just really go house shopping. You could really, if you had a motivated buyer, you could really put them in the car or have them follow you, and you could really show them 10 houses and pick one, right? Those were the days. But look at where we're at now. In 2022, in January of this year, we had only 1.6 months supply on the market. So we know that inventory is critically low. And I always say that it is our job to bring this inventory to market. Now, we know there's not a lack of home sales. I believe the number was 6.12 million homes were sold last year. And that is a record. It was a record-breaking year. So the homes are coming to market, they're just selling. And so my question for you is, how are you going to get more of those listings? And I know you can use Zoodealio as a tool to do that, but be thinking about that. Now, let's talk about the second talking point that I believe every realtor should be able to share. And this is new construction. What is happening with new construction? Because see, here's the thing, like we just don't have enough homes on the market. And we know that, and I've showed this before. These are the single family housing units completed every year going back to 1970. And what we can see is after the housing crash, builders slowed way down. They stopped building. And for 13 consecutive years, new construction didn't keep up with population growth. It was below the 50-year average of building. And so what we're estimating is that there is a lack of about 5.5 million housing units. And so we're short new construction. In 2021, we had 967,000 single family housing units completed. And so it's going up, it's headed in a good direction, but we are still, low on new housing units. Now, here is something interesting. These are the housing starts every January, going back to 2000. And if you look at how many housing starts were in January of 2022, you will see that we're headed in the right direction. There were more housing starts in January of 2022 since 2006. And so this is a good thing. So whenever I hear that, people having this sentiment that builders are overbuilding, no, we're catching up. We are still at that point where we're catching up. There is still a delta of supply of new construction. And so we need to really be able to articulate this and share this. And the third talking point that I think that is important for us to know is demand. What is demand looking like in today's market? And so a couple points that we can share on that is we know that there's a massive demand for homes. Here was a NerdWallet survey that said 28 million Americans plan to purchase a home within the next 12 months. And 26 million hope to become homeowners within the next 5 years. So demand is so strong for housing, so strong. And so if you assume, let's just assume if every one of those 28 million Americans are in a relationship and buying a home, you still have 2 times as many people wanting to buy a home as there are houses available. So demand is still very strong. And then also we can take a look at the showing time, showing index. And so they publish this information, and this measures the showing traffic, or foot traffic, as sometimes I like to call it, that we have every month. And in 2022, in January, we had a 7.7% increase in foot traffic. So demand is still very high. Now you have other factors that I think get glossed over that are important to look at. And these factors are, how about iBuyers? We know that they're making a big impact. And we know that 20% of all of the homes that they acquire are being farmed out to institutional owners. And they're being put into long-term rentals, and they're being added to the portfolios, and they're being taken out of the housing stock. And so further diminishing our supply. And we also know investors are on a record buying spree. This article was in Bloomberg. I shared this a few months ago, but it is definitely worth revisiting, because in 2021, investors, they spent $64 billion and acquired 18% of the homes available. Many of those homes they're acquiring, they are putting into long-term rentals, again, diminishing our housing stock. So really important that we understand these factors that are at play. And then number 4, what is the fourth talking point that I really think we all need to be aware of? And that's interest rates. What is happening with interest rates? I know they're going up. Well, they went up, they came down a little bit, but they're definitely up from earlier this year. They're 100%, definitely 100% up from last year. They're going up. but we still got a 3 in front of it. And in my book, that is still an amazing rate. I looked at Freddie Mac last night. It was 3.85 was the national average for a 30-year fixed. And here are some tidbits from the economists on what they're saying is happening regarding interest rates, inflation, and the war in Ukraine. So this is Sam. He's the Freddie Mac chief economist, and he had this quote that I really think is worth sharing. It was, the geopolitical tensions caused the U.S. Treasury yields to recede this week as investors moved to the safety of bonds, which led to a drop in mortgage rates. While inflationary pressures remain, the cascading impacts of the war in Ukraine have created market uncertainty. Consequently, rates are expected to stay low in the short term, but will likely increase in the months to come. Makes sense, but let's see what someone else has to say who is also an authority in this space. Here's a quote from Ken Johnson. He's a real estate economist, and he says that the international uncertainty brought about by the conflict in Ukraine is outweighing a hawkish Fed's fight against inflation. The current flight to safety from equity to fixed income markets is driving up demand for the 10-year Treasury note and pushing yields down. In return, this will put downward pressure on mortgage rates. To put bluntly, Putin's invasion of of Ukraine is driving down mortgage rates. So what's happening is the rates are coming down a little. I know it's like this, they go up, they come down, they go up. But overall, economists expect that in the short term, our rates to remain kind of low. Here's something that is also interesting to look at that I think that we all need to be aware of. And this is that for the past 50 years, the 30-year mortgage rate has moved in unison with the 10-year Treasury rate. And so we don't expect rates to skyrocket anytime soon. All right, let's talk about the 5th talking point, and that is appreciation. It's been bananas. It's been crazy, and we all know that it can't sustain at the levels that it has been for the past couple of years. But what is expected? What is forecasted? And here are the appreciation projections from several different sources. And we've got CoreLogic here coming in and saying they think that this year we're going to have 9.6% appreciation. We've got Fannie Mae at 7.6. We've got the home price expectancy survey saying that they believe we're going to have 6.3% appreciation. Basically, you can see that everybody agrees we will still have appreciation in 2022. And the average of all of these is 6.1%. Now hang on to that number because I'm going to use it here in just a moment. But the takeaway is that our market is still expected to appreciate this year. And the home price expectancy survey came out with their potential household wealth growth. If you were to buy a home and you were to buy that home in January of 2022, what would that wealth accumulation look like just based solely on the equity in your home over the next 5 years? And they're saying that anyone who purchased a home in January 2022, 5 years from now, should have an additional $89,441 if they were to have purchased a $350,000 home. So still incredible long-term projections for wealth growth by homeowners. This is just so important to me because I just believe homeownership is such an important part of the fabric of many of our lives. So I know that the people that are sitting back looking at everything that's happening in the world and wondering like, wow, maybe now is not the time. They're wondering, should I wait? Should I wait for the housing market to crash? Or should I buy now? What should I do? And so I like to play this little game of what if, and I have a couple different scenarios that I kind of skinned out. And this is a really fun exercise, something that, you ought to do. You ought to do this exercise to get a feel for what could happen. And so you can share with potential clients, what they could be looking at if they wait or if they buy, now. And so we know today that you can likely go out and get a 3.85% interest rate. Let's say you're looking at a $450,000 house. Your principal and interest payment would be $2,110. Now, remember I said that the average appreciation projection by all of those sources was 6.1%. So if we take, let's say a year from now, that $450,000 house appreciates 6.1%. We're going to end up at $477,450. Now, let's also say that interest rates go up because we're expecting them to stay low in the short term, but we know we have to combat inflation. They can't be low forever. So we're expecting them to increase. Let's say they go up a year from now to 4.85%. You can see that monthly payment difference is quite substantial. We go from $2,100 a month to $2,500 a month. It's an extra $400 a month if the market should increase by 6.1% and if interest rates should go up. Now, but what if the market goes down? What if we go down by 15%? And I don't know if you'd call 15% a crash, or I don't know if you'd call it a mini crash or maybe a massive correction. I don't know what you'd call 15%, but it's pretty substantial. If prices went down 15% in 1 year, pretty substantial. In my opinion, probably pretty darn unlikely. But if that happened, if the market did go down by 15%, we know that we're likely going to have that higher interest rate, right? We know we're going to have to combat inflation. We know rates are going up. And so if that should happen and the market drops, check out the difference. Not much. A 15% drop with an increase in interest rates would only be about $100 on that payment difference. And so if you have people that are on the fence, show them this information, share with them what could happen, and give them that information. All right. Just reading a note there that I got. Thank you so much, Evelyn. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. So that's where we're at. Those are the 5 things that I think that if you are armed with the information and you can rattle off quickly and you can make content around, you will be that leader in your market. You will be the one answering the questions that's keeping people up at night. And that's, is now a good time to buy and sell? And see, I believe that as we're looking at these 3 scenarios, I believe that middle one is more likely to be the case a year from now. And I believe that especially for people that are on budgets, first-time home buyers, now is the time, and you have the resources and the tenacity to help them through that. So I want to switch gears for a moment now, and I want to kind of go deep a little bit and talk about our Cash Offer Plus. And here in about 5 minutes or so, I'm going to have Alyssa join us, and she's going to come on and talk about her experience. But before she does, I just wanted to kind of explain the program again and give you kind of the details, tell you what you can kind of expect when you go through this process. So the Cash Offer Plus that's instant cash offer. So your seller gets an instant cash offer. They can pick their closing date. It's very flexible, no showings, etc. All of the benefits of that cash offer. But the really cool thing is we just looked at what appreciation is projected to do, and it's projected to go up. And so the really neat thing about the Cash Offer Plus is it brings the seller all of the proceeds of the open market. So when the home is finally put on the market and sold, if it sells for more than the cash offer, the seller will get all of that back. One point I like to remind us realtors about is that this is a listing retention tool. You know, I love when sellers want to take a cash offer, but one of the things that I think is a lost opportunity for many of us, especially if we're marketers, especially if we're geo farmers, is that we don't get a listing. We don't get to bring that listing on the market, and we don't get to share that with everybody. And we all know success builds success. Usually you can get 2 deals from every listing. And so if they're just accepting a cash offer from a company and that company is then taking it into the inventory and putting it on the market, you lose that opportunity. But with the Cash Offer Plus, you don't. You get to be the agent that lists that home on the open market. So I want to also just share the fees and the commission, just so you have that solidified. There is, for the Cash Offer Plus, there's a range of anywhere from 5 to 6% service fee. And by the way, you're going to get all of this disclosed to you when the offer comes. You're going to be able to see it before your seller sees it, because we don't share the offer to the seller. You share the offer to the seller. You're the realtor. You're in full control of those offers. So all of this you'll be given before that offer is even, pushed to your seller. So there's a 5 to 6% service fee. There's also a 5 to 6% resale fee. And there's a 1% fee for closing costs. Now, as far as your commission, whatever that resale fee is on the offer, that is your commission. So your commission is 5 to 6%. Now, keep in mind, you're going to be bringing this home on the open market. So likely you're going to need to, reserve a few of those commission points for a buyer broker commission. So you're probably going to offer some sort of co-broke out of that. But you get the full freedom and flexibility to determine what's appropriate for your market and what should be offered to that buyer broker. So another thing that I like to share and talk about, so we're all aware, is there is a risk assessment fee. And that is what we call the upside. So basically how this cash offer works is it is a structured payout. There are 2 payouts to the seller. We take anywhere from a 6 to 12% risk assessment fee, and we place that in a secure escrow holdback. And that stays there until the property is resold on the open market. If the home resells on the open market for the same amount as the cash offer was made, then that 6 to 12% risk assessment fee is fully refunded back to the seller. If the home sells for more on the open market, let's say it sells for $5,000 more, well, then that 6 to 12% risk assessment fee is returned to the seller along with the additional $5,000. Now, this is a risk assessment fee, so it's a hedge. So on the flip side, let's say the house sells for $5,000 less than the cash offer. Well, in that scenario, that $5,000 would be deducted from that 6 to 12%, and then the remaining proceeds would be returned to the seller. So I have basically I want to share with you the breakdown of what that would look like. And when you go through this experience and you do get that cash offer plus, here is the document that you will receive. And you guys listening to me on the call, sometimes you'll get insights on what's to come with Zoodealio, because we are launching some updates and some really cool things. And one of the updates that we're doing is a really awesome offer dashboard update to where this will be displayed really easily and it looks amazing for your seller right in their offer dashboard. So here's a breakdown of what this offer would look like. And in this scenario, we had a purchase price of $475,000. You will see that they had a risk assessment fee of $47,500. So their initial payout was $400,000, or their total payout was $418,000. And then they will also get a very detailed breakdown of what this looks like. So you'll see that there was that service fee in this scenario was 6%. The resale fee was also 6%. And you'll also see that what they would get now versus what they would get later, there was a 10% risk assessment fee on this one. All right, so I want to also just remind everybody that there are 2 ways to initiate requesting an offer on a property. obviously the seller can go onto your site and they can key in their address and they can self request that offer right from your site. And that is one way. But there's also a second way for the seller to get that offer. And that is you can request it on their behalf. So I just want to share with you, because we get asked this question a lot. I wanted to share with you how you would do that. So if you're wanting to request a cash offer, let's say you're prospecting, let's say you're, prospecting for FISBOs, or maybe there's expired listings from 3 years ago that you went back and you found, and you're gonna go back to those expired listings and see if they'd like a cash offer. Or maybe you're looking at absentee owners and you're thinking this would be great to get cash offers for absentee owners. Or one of the strategies that I really recommend is a cash offer a day. So you're going back through your database to anybody that's a homeowner and you're just soliciting a cash offer for them so you can provide it to them. Or let's say you're looking at defaults, notice of defaults. Let's say you're looking at 30, 60-day lates and you're prospecting those individuals and you're wanting to bring them cash offers. You can do that. You can request the cash offer on behalf of a seller without them having to fill out the form on your site. And you do that by logging into your agent dashboard. You click your name in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll see here on the screen what pops down is a little button that says submit a property. And then if you click that, you'll see that you can then just fill out all of the details for your seller right there and request that cash offer. Evelyn had a great question. She said, I thought we couldn't do that because we need pictures. Okay, yes, so we do need pictures in order to get the highest cash offer. What you can do is in situations where you're just not able to go in and get pictures, or if you're doing the cash offer a day, what I recommend is go back to the last listing in the MLS and use those pictures. And say hey, if you have any insight to whether or not anything has changed, let us know. But if you can at least grab those photos for us, or let's say there's photos on Zillow. I know a lot of sellers will go onto Zillow and they'll upload photos of their home. So we do see that quite often. We can always use those as well. We do love pictures. We do really stress that. And that is one of the benefits to when the seller goes on and fills it out, they're prompted to upload those photos. So that is a little deep dive into our Cash Offer Plus. And I wanted to just kind of go through that before we bring Alyssa on. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share. And Alyssa will be hopping on with us now. We'll give her a minute or so to get on here. All right, here Hello. She is. Let's see. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you guys today. Thanks for the invitation.
Well, we are certainly excited to have you here with us. Let's start, Alyssa, why don't you just share with us a little bit about who you are and how long you've been in real estate and what market you work in.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Alyssa Keizer. I'm based out of the Phoenix, Arizona market. This will actually be my 5th year in real estate. And one of the things that has just constantly been ingrained in me throughout my real estate journey is social media and establishing myself as the industry leader to my sphere of influence. And so one of the reasons that I really love Zoodealio and everything that you guys have to offer is the marketing material. The social media content that's in the dashboard has come in clutch for me time and time again. One of my followers on Instagram actually reached out to me and said, hey, I see that you can get people cash offers on their homes. We're interested in selling. She told me, she goes, you're so passionate about your clients. You provide so many options. She said, I would love it if you would help us sell our home and get into our next one. So of course I said, yes, give me a day. Let me collect some offers for you. I immediately logged into my dashboard and submitted their house for cash offers. And before I presented the options to them, I did share with them, I said, hey guys, this is what I think I could sell your home for on the open market, based on what homes are selling for in your neighborhood. This is what I think you should list at. And surprisingly enough, one of the cash offers that came in was the list price that I had shared with them. So, not gonna lie, I was really nervous to present these options to them because, they're robust. It's a lot to explain to your average consumer client. And, but I did it anyways. And I said, here's your options. Here's the cash offer plus. I said, this is my favorite option to share with people because it gives you convenience. You're able to stay in your home. This family specifically, they had 2 kids under the age of 2. Mom works from home. So having showings, having people in and out of their house was just not an option for them. And they just didn't want to have to be inconvenienced by that. So the cash offer plus was the best option moving forward for this family. And they immediately, they didn't even have to think twice about it. They understood that they could unlock the equity that they have gained in their home to be able to go out and purchase their next home. And when I shared with them that they would get the proceeds from the second sale of their home, that was it for them. They were like, yes, where do we sign? Let's do this. So it was a slam dunk. It definitely made this family's transition so smooth for them. I was so excited just to be able to offer them, hey, look, this is something that I can make easy for you and help you get to your next place. So it's cash offer plus definitely came in clutch for my clients.
Wow. Well, great story. That was awesome. And I have questions. I definitely have questions.
Okay, yes.
A few things that I think that we can take away and extract is very valuable from what you've just shared with us, which thank you. So I think the first thing is you shared that they actually reached out to you on Instagram. So you have been posting content around the Zoodealio offerings using the marketing materials that we're making. And they reached out to you about that. So it wasn't you out there hard prospecting. It was you're putting out information, value, goodwill, and they came to you. And I think you mentioned, share with us again, you mentioned that when they reached out to you, they specifically said, we know you have cash offers and options.
Yes. So in her message to me, she said, we've thought about going to Open Door, OfferPad. She said, but I have watched you share about the different cash offer options that you can provide. And she said, I want to know more about that and what that would look like specifically for us in our home. So it was really cool to have someone come to me and say, hey, can you get this for me?
Yes, I know, because we're always out there, lead generating and prospecting. So to have that happen passively with you just posting, incredible. That's the power of sharing and being the leader in your marketplace. Something else that you just mentioned when your client messaged you, she knew of Open Door, she knew of OfferPad.
Yes, today homeowners are very savvy. They know that they can go, get their own offers. But I think that, obviously she had been watching my journey and there was this level of trust established because I do try and educate and provide value. And so I think that made her say, hey, I'm going to talk to Alyssa first before I go to these other people.
I love it. I love it because we know most of the time if they go without you, it's a big old commissionectomy and you'll be getting nothing on that. And so I love that she reached out to you. Okay. So also you mentioned that the problems that it solved for your seller. So you said that they have a family, they have, young children, and you mentioned that was a thing for them.
Yes. So this family, mom worked from home, also stay-at-home mom too. So, just regular, everyday working mom life. The thought of having showings being scheduled, they understood that this market here in Arizona right now is hot and it's intense. And the price point that they were in, they knew that they were going to get bombarded with showings. And so, she told me right off the bat, she said, if we can limit showings, if we have to go on the market, she said, that's what we need to do. She said, if we have to, only do them on weekends, she's like, that's what's going to work best for us. So when I shared with her that if you guys decide to move forward with this cash offer plus option, I said, you're not going to have to put your home on the market while you're still living there. And that to them, I think that was the first benefit that made them say, yes, we want to move forward with this option.
Okay, so I'm getting a couple questions here from our members. So I want to ask you some of these questions. And
Okay.
One of the questions is what was the price?
The price, $315.
Okay, so the cash offer plus came in at $315.
Correct.
Okay, so let's also talk about you got the cash offer at $315. And now, as I just mentioned, I kind of just did a deep dive into our cash offer plus, and I had shared that it's a listing retention tool. So Alyssa, you were the listing agent for the open market, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about, how long that home was on the market, how long did you market it for, and share with us what it sold for.
Okay, so I listed the property on a Wednesday. Within 2 hours of it being listed, I had 4 offers come in, and it sold within a day. It sold $10,000 over list, and we closed in about 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay, so hot market. Something else you mentioned is that the seller knew that it was a hot market. It's like the seller wasn't like unaware that they could put their house on the market and get, a flood of offers. They knew that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that this family, they wanted property. They wanted an acre plus, and they weren't quite sure, how do we sell our home, but then also move into our next home? They're like, we don't want to do the whole, live with family, do like a transition move in between the 2 home sales. And so another benefit to this client was that it was a flexible closing time frame, and it allowed them to stay in their current home until their next home was finished and they could move in.
Awesome. Yes, I love it. So let's talk about, you mentioned that the home did sell for more on the open market. And what was the seller's reaction when they received back their holdback and then they got this additional, did you say 15,000?
An additional 10,000. Yes.
Oh, 10,000. Okay.
Yeah. So I think honestly, they kind of forgot that they were going to get a second check. They, which I don't know how you would forget that you were going to have more money coming in, but hey, whatever, moving is stressful. So, they were already, they were equity rich. It really just by being a homeowner, they acquired so much equity in their home. It allowed them to move up into a larger home on an acre and a quarter, and they were able to put a nice chunk of change down. So they were already over the moon, so excited, so happy. And then when I called them and I said, hey guys, your home sold on the open market. It sold for $10,000 over list. And by the way, next week, title's going to call you to set up a wire transfer for an additional $40,000. It was like crickets for probably 5 seconds. And then it was like, oh my God, are you serious? Like they were so excited. And that was really fun to be on the other end of the line and share that news with them, because sometimes we have really hard conversations. So it's fun when you have an excited conversation. And it's also really cool to know that you exceeded someone's expectations too.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm getting a couple more questions coming through, so I want to work through these. And I know your time is valuable, so let's work through these questions. So Nancy, hi Nancy, thanks for joining us today. She would like to know if you would please share your Instagram account. So if you could share your Instagram account with everyone, that would be great.
Yes. It's Alyssa Keizer _AZ Realtor.
And I'm going to put that in the chat.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So you said Alyssa Keizer _realtor.
AZ Realtor.
Oh, AZ Realtor. Okay, let's see here. So I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody. Okay, cool. Another question. Hi, Joy. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this question I'm going to couple this with also a question from Evelyn, a couple questions from Evelyn. I'll try and get to all of them here. Evelyn's question was, they use the cash offer plus. Why did they use the cash offer plus versus the sell-in stay, since they needed that flexibility on closing day? So was it, did we time it? Like, how did that work? How did the closings work?
Yes. So with the cash offer plus, this particular buyer that was going to purchase my client's home was able to be flexible with the closing date. So the sell and lease back, I think maybe had it have been maybe a longer time frame, maybe like 6 months or something, if they were going into a new build, I think that the sell and the lease back program probably would have worked out great for them. But because it was only like a month or two, the buyer was flexible and it allowed them to transition to their next home seamlessly.
Okay, awesome. So another question kind of piggybacking on that from Joy is, was there a rent back fee?
No, there was no rent back fee.
How long was between the closing and them vacating? How long did they stay in the property?
So it was actually a little bit longer than I had anticipated. The home that they were purchasing was a new construction mobile home, and the seller wasn't quite ready. They were still working on finishing up some things for this mobile home. And I honestly got a little bit worried, but I came back to Keith in the offers department and I said, hey, Keith, is this buyer, is this going to work? Like it's going to be a little bit longer than we had initially anticipated. And, he said, let me call him, let me see what I can do. And really working close with Keith to kind of manage the transaction and just keep the buyer in the loop. Keith came in clutch, made it happen for my clients. So I really worked close with Keith in keeping it together and making it happen. So they got the cash offer on their home in October, and we ended up closing on their next home, their purchase, in January. I listed the home on the open market for sale at the beginning of February, and it sold like 2 weeks later. So once we got through their purchase and got them moved into their next home, I listed their old home, and it just went off extremely fast from that point.
Very cool. So it is really neat to hear that, this is somebody that back in October was like, we want to move. I know this girl, Alyssa, I see her talking about cash offers. I'm going to reach out to her. I reach out to Alyssa. I get this cash offer. It works for me. I'm able then to go, oh, all right, now I have the freedom and flexibility to go out there and home shop. And it sounds like they purchased their new home in January. And how long, I guess another question that I'm getting is how long were they able to stay in? Like when did the cash offer plus the first sale happen? Did that happen in January?
Yes, so it happened in January. And then that buyer allowed my clients 2 days after the close of escrow to move and get their family transitioned at maybe a little bit slower pace than normally. So there was even more flexibility. Once they did close on the house, they had 2 days to move. So I think another thing that my clients loved about this so much is that they didn't feel pressured. They had time to move their family. They didn't feel rushed, and they just had a really great moving experience.
Well, that is so wonderful. And I'm so happy that you came on today and you shared with us. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys and all your help too.
Awesome. All right, so that's Alyssa's story. It sounds like the Cash Offer Plus really worked for her and her clients and was just a great thing. Hey, if that wasn't a testimony to get out there and push your products and your offerings on your social media channels, I don't know what is. And so I'm going to wrap up today very quickly. I have a simple framework for success. We know that when we take action in our business consistently, it is going to create real estate conversations. And we know that the more real estate conversations you're having, whether it's a text or a phone call or a Facebook message or an Instagram direct message, whatever the medium of that communication, we know that if you're having real estate conversations, you are going to be having closings. And so how can you consistently take more action in your business so that you can have more conversations, so that you get more closings? I shared this last week. I'm going to share it again because I think it's really powerful. These are 5 things that you can be doing in your business. They're very, very simple things. Video, make short form vertical video content. So important. Make your long form video content as well. I shouted out Chris Igo. He made all of the videos. He posted them on YouTube. He shared them in the Zoodealio Inner Circle group. I shared 4 video scripts last week. So if you're looking for those scripts, go check out last week's call. But make content. Be the knowledge broker in your market. It will pay off. If you haven't already launched a 60-day campaign that we have to your database, do so this week. It's a series of emails, text messages, and it is guaranteed to get that phone buzzing. Facebook Messenger is another great way to connect. Get on there and give 15 Facebook messages a day. Share about your offerings, share about the market, and get people engaging with you. And then social media, as we just heard from Alyssa, very powerful tool, extremely powerful. You can build these relationships at scale. And the really neat thing about it is you never know when someone's going to sneak into your DMs and say, hey, I saw your video about your cash offer programs. Share with me about it. One thing Alyssa mentioned that I think is worth reiterating, sellers are so savvy. They know about the open doors. They know about the offer pads, but most sellers want someone on their side. They want that fiduciary. And so you get to be it. And then the last thing that you can do this week is start a campaign. Are you geo farming? Are you target marketing? Are you sending letters to absentee owners? Are you going after the 30, 60-day lates? Those are great people to target a mail campaign to as well. So I want to just leave it with asking you a question. What action are you committed to taking this week to grow your business? So many things that we can be doing. And I always find it's never about not knowing what to do. For me, if I'm not taking action, it's usually because something is getting in the way. Usually that something looks like a little bit of fear. Maybe it looks like a little bit of overwhelm. You know, if you're at that point in your business where you're everything and you're doing it all and you think, oh man, I want to grow, but if I grow, I'm going to just have more appointments and more escrows and more expectations to manage. And I just don't know if I'm there yet. So maybe it's time to scale up and you bring on help so that you can really stabilize your business and get after it at a higher capacity. And, you know, maybe there's a little bit of fear going on. Maybe taking action on some of those things like Alyssa mentioned. If you put these programs out there and someone asks you, then you're going to have to explain it. And maybe you're thinking, oh man, what if I don't know how to explain it right? What if I look stupid? Or what if I fail? I just want to empower you this week to be bold. Action will get you out of that mindset. Take action. You are worth it. Your business is worth it. And Terry, yes, this recording will be available. We will email it out. It'll be posted in the agent dashboard under the Kayla's calls, and it will also be uploaded into the Facebook Inner Circle group. Thank you all for being here today. I appreciate you and your time. Everybody have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next Monday.